A U.S. National Consumer Organization Guide. Chapter 1. Major Consumer Organizations. National Consumer Organizations. These organizations define their missions as consumer assistance, protection, and/or advocacy. The services they provide vary. Those that assist individuals with marketplace problems are specified clearly. Otherwise, these organizations do not assist consumers with individual complaints, although many are interested in hearing from consumers about problems, issues, trends, etc., in connection with their advocacy and consumer education activities. Most, though not all, develop and distribute consumer education and information materials. Several are professional associations primarily or exclusively concerned with improving consumer protection or customer service, and many are engaged in advocacy of consumer interests before government, the courts and the news media. Where information or education materials are offered, there might be a charge. Contact the organization to find out. If you can't find what you are looking for here, see if your library has the Consumer Sourcebook, at number 381, by Gale Press, 800-877-GALE, galegroup.com. Council of Better Business Bureaus. 4200 Wilson Boulevard. Number 800. Arlington, Virginia 22203-1838. 703-276-0100. Fax, 703-525-8277. bbb.org. Air Travel Consumer Complaint Hotline. 800 FAA Sure. Alliance Against Fraud in Telemarketing/OFT. C/O National Consumers League. 1701 K St. N.W. Number 1200. Washington, D.C. 20006. 202-835-3323. 202-835-0747. Fax. natelconsumersleague.com. The Alliance, coordinated by the National Consumers League, is an international coalition of public interest groups, trade associations, labor unions, businesses, law enforcement agencies, consumer reporters, and consumer protection agencies. AAFT members promote cooperative educational efforts to alert potential victims to the threat of telemarketing fraud and steps consumers can take to protect themselves. American Association of Retired Persons/AARP. Consumer Affairs Section. 601 EST, NW. Washington, D.C. 20049. 202-434-6030. 202-434-6466. Fax. AARP.org. AARP's Consumer Affairs Section advocates on behalf of midlife and older consumers, develops and distributes consumer information and educates the private sector about the specific needs of older consumers. Programs and materials on housing, insurance, funeral practices, eligibility for public benefits, financial security, and consumer protection issues are developed, with special focus on the needs and problems of older consumers. American Council of Consumer Interests. 240 Stanley Hall, U. of Missouri. Columbia, Missouri 65211. 573-882-3817. Fax, 573-884-6571. acci.ps.missouri.edu. Serving the professional needs of consumer educators, researchers, and policymakers, ACCI publications and educational programs foster the production, synthesis, and dissemination of information in the consumer interest. American Council on Science and Health. 1995 Broadway. 2nd FL. NYC 10023. 212-362-7044. Fax, 212-362-4919. acsh.org. A non-profit public education group, ACSH's goal is to provide up-to-date, sound information on the relationship between health and chemicals, foods, lifestyles, and the environment. Booklets and special reports on a variety of topics are available, as is a quarterly magazine. Bank Card Holders of America. 524 Branch Drive, Salem, Virginia 24153. 800-553-8025. 540-389-5445. Fax, 540-389-3020. Bankrate.com. A non-profit organization, BHA assists consumers in saving money on credit, getting out of debt and resolving credit problems. It offers lists of low-rate and secured credit cards, more than 20 guidebooks and educational brochures on credit topics and a newsletter. Center for Auto Safety, CA. 2001 SST, NW, number 410. Number 410. Washington, D.C. 20009. 800-424-9393. 202-328-7700. NHTSA.gov. CA does assist consumers with auto-related problems. CA advocates on behalf of consumers in auto safety and quality, fuel efficiency, emissions, and related issues. For advice on specific problems, CA requests that consumers write, including a brief statement of the problem or question, year, make and model of the vehicle, and a stamped self-addressed envelope. Center for Science in the Public Interest. 1875 Connecticut Avenue, NW. Number 300. Washington, D.C. 20009. 202-332-9110. Fax, 202-265-4954. csbi@cspinit.org. cspinit.org. A non-profit, membership organization, CSPI conducts research, education, and advocacy on nutrition, health, food safety and related issues and publishes the monthly Nutrition Action Health Letter, as well as other consumer information materials. Citizen Action. 1900 L. St. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-775-1580. Fax, 202-296-4054. Citizen.org. Citizen Action works on behalf of its 3 million members and 32 state organizations on healthcare reform, environment, and energy issues. COCO Congress of Consumer Organizations. POB 158. Newton Center, Massachusetts 02150. 617-552-8184. COCO publishes a monthly newsletter, the COCO Intercom, on a broad range of consumer issues. Community Nutrition Institute/CNI. 910 17th STNW, number 413. Washington, D.C. 20006. 202-776-0595. 202-776-0595. Fax. CNI@digex.net. An advocate for programs and services to enable consumers to enjoy a diet that is adequate, safe, and healthy, CNI also works to increase citizen participation in the state and federal policy and administrative processes to achieve these goals. CNI publishes Nutrition Week, a newsletter covering nutrition and food safety issues. Congress of Consumer Organizations. POB 158. Newton Center, Massachusetts 02159. 617-552-8184. Fax, 617-552-2380. Essential.org. Congress Watch. 215 Pennsylvania Avenue, SE. Washington, D.C. 20003. 202-546-4996. Fax, 547-7392. CongressWatch@citizen.org. Citizen.org. An arm of Public Citizen, Congress Watch works for consumer-related legislation, regulation, and policies in such areas as trade and banking, health and safety and campaign financing, and has publications available on the issues with which it deals. Consumer Action. 717, Market St. Number 310. SF California 94103. 415-777-9635. Fax, 415-777-5267. info@consumer-action.org. consumeraction.org. Consumer Action does assist consumers with marketplace problems. An education and advocacy organization specializing in banking and telecommunications issues, Consumer Action offers a consumer complaint hotline, free information on its surveys of banks and long-distance telephone companies, and consumer education editorials in as many as 8 languages. Consumer Alert. 1001 Connecticut Avenue, NW. Number 1128. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-467-5809. Fax, 202-467-5814. ConsumerAlert.org. Consumer Alert is a non-profit, membership organization whose mission is to inform the public about the consumer benefits of competitive enterprise, advancing competition as the best regulator of business. A bi-monthly newsletter and other materials are available. Consumer Federation of America. 1424 16th St. Northwest. Number 604. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-387-6121. Fax, 202-265-7989. Made up of more than 240 organizations representing a membership exceeding 50 million consumers, CFA is a consumer advocacy and education organization. Issues on which it currently represents consumer interests before Congress and federal regulatory agencies include telephone service, insurance and financial services, product safety, indoor air pollution, healthcare, product liability, and utility rates. It develops and distributes studies of various consumer issues, as well as consumer guides in book and pamphlet form. In addition, CFA publishes several newsletters. Consumer Health Research Institute. 800-821-6671. Consumer Products Safety Commission Hotline. 1111 18th St. Northwest. Washington, D.C. 20207. 800-638 CPSC. 800-638-2772. cpsc.gov. Purpose is to establish and enforce safety standards and oversee safety-related product recalls for common household products. Its jurisdiction is appliances, home furnishing, toys and other household products, flammability standards for carpets, clothing, packaging of medicines and hazardous household products. They take complaints and reports on the history of specific products. For example, say, you want to buy a lawnmower or a toy, check first for safety record. Free brochures. Consumer Product Safety Guide. 4025 West Peterson Avenue, Chicago, Illinois 60646. 800-224-8299. 800-492-8104. Free booklets. Consumers for World Trade. 2000 L St. N.W. Number 200. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-785-4835. Fax, 202-416-1734. CWT@cwt.org. CWT.org. A non-profit organization, CWT supports trade expansion and liberalization to promote economic growth and increase consumer choice and price competition in the marketplace. Various publications are available. Consumers Union of the U.S., Inc. 101 Truman Avenue, Yonkers, New York 10703. 914-378-2000. Fax, 914-378-2900. ConsumerReports.org. A non-profit, independent organization, CU researches and tests consumer goods and services and disseminates the results in its monthly magazine, Consumer Reports, as well as other publications and media. Efficiency labeling for consumer products. 800-523-2919. Electronic Industries Association. Consumer Division. 2001, IST Northwest. Washington, D.C. 20006. EIA.org. If you have a legitimate beef about an electronic component, they might help you. Environmental Protection Agency. 401 M St. S.W. Washington, D.C. 20460. 202-382-4355. 800-424-9346. EPA.gov. Purpose is to protect and enhance the environment by controlling pollution in the air and water. Many pamphlets. They will answer any questions about pollution of any kind. Families USA Foundation. 1334 G St. N.W. Number 300. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-628-3030. Fax, 202-347-2417. info@familiesusa.org. familiesusa.org. A national, non-profit membership organization committed to comprehensive reform of health and long-term care, Families USA works to educate and mobilize consumers on healthcare issues. In addition to its two grassroots advocacy networks, ASAP, a network of health and long-term care reform activists, and HealthLink USA, a nationwide health reform computer network for advocacy groups, Families USA develops and distributes reports and other materials on health and long-term care issues. Federal Communications Commission. 1919 M St. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20554. 202-634-1706. 888-225-5322. FCC.gov. TV and radio regulations. Federal Deposit Insurance Corp/FDIC. 550 17th St. Northwest. Washington, D.C. 20429. 800-424-5488. FDIC.gov. They will tell you about your protection, etc. in case your bank fails. Federal Reserve System. 20th St. and Constitution Ave. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20551. 202-452-3204. FRB.gov. Purpose is to establish regulations regarding the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, Home Mortgage Disclosure and Fair Credit Billing. It oversees all Federal Reserve and member banks. Food and Drug Administration. 5600 Fishers Lane. Rockville, Maryland 20857. 301-443-3380. FDA.gov. Its purpose is to protect the nation's health against unsafe drugs, foods and cosmetics, medical devices and radiation-producing products. Food and Drug Administration. 800-638-6725. FDA.gov. Report product danger. Food and Drug Administration Center for Drugs and Biologics. 5600 Fishers LN. Number 15B32. Rockville, Maryland 20857. 301-443-1016. FDA.gov. They will answer questions about prescription and non-prescription drugs. Furniture Industry Advisory Panel. Director of Consumer Affairs. Box 951. High PT, NC 27261. Furniture.org. Contact them if you have a complaint about furniture. Health Research Group/HRG. 1600 20th St. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20009. 202-588-1000. Citizen.org/HRG. A division of Public Citizen, HRG works for protection against unsafe foods, drugs, medical devices, and workplaces and advocates for greater consumer control over personal health decisions. A monthly health letter and other publications are available. Homeowners Warranty Corp. POB 152087. Irving, Texas 75015. 800-4333-7657. Home Warranties. If you're planning to buy or remodel your house, contact them to find out whether they're affiliated with this major national organization. International Airline Passengers Association. Consumer Affairs Division. POB 660074. Dallas, Texas 75266. 800-527-6006. 214-438-8100. They will answer general questions such as lost luggage, overbooking, etc. Merchant Risk Council. 512-977-5422. info@merchantriskcouncil.org. merchantriskcouncil.org. Nader, Ralph. POB 19367. Washington, D.C. 20036. ralphnader.org. Consumer Advocate. National Association of Consumer Agency Administrators. 1010 Vermont Avenue, NW. Number 514. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-347-7395. 202-347-2563. Fax. NACAA@arls.com. An association of the administrators of local, state and federal government consumer protection agencies. NACA provides training programs, public policy studies and conferences, professional publications, and other member services. National Association of Furniture Manufacturers. 8401 Connecticut Avenue, NW. Washington, D.C. 20015. 202-657-4442. National Coalition for Consumer Education NCCE. 295 Main St. Number 200. POB 576. Madison, New Jersey 07040. 973-377-8987. Fax, 973-377-4828. Lifesmarts.org. The coalition brings together people and resources from government, business, education, consumer organizations, and the media to educate consumers about such important issues as financial management, health and safety, and the environment. The coalition develops and provides educational materials and resources to consumer educators but does not handle requests from individuals. National Consumer Cooperative Bank. 2001 S. St. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20009. 800-424-2481. National Consumer Law Center. 18 Tremont St. Boston, Massachusetts 02108. 617-523-8010. Fax, 617-523-7398. Consumer Law at nclc.org. consumerlaw.org. Helps lawyers who represent low-income clients in consumer cases and helps low-income clients with major cases. National Consumers League. 1701 K. St. N.W. Number 1200. Washington, D.C. 20006. 202-835-3323. Fax, 202-835-0747. NatelConsumersLeague.com. Founded in 1899, NCL is America's pioneer consumer advocacy organization. The League is a non-profit, membership organization working for consumer health and safety protection and fairness in the marketplace and workplace. Current principal issue areas include consumer fraud, food and drug safety, fair labor standards, child labor, healthcare, the environment, and telecommunications. The League develops and distributes consumer education materials in a newsletter. National Foundation for Consumer Credit, Inc. NFCC. 8611, 2nd Avenue No. 100. Silver Spring, Maryland 20910. 301-589-5600. 800-388-2227. Fax, 30L495-5623. nfcc.org. The Foundation does advise consumers on credit problems. A non-profit membership organization, the Foundation's goals are to educate and counsel consumers on credit issues and problems and promote the intelligent use of credit in individual and family financial planning. NFCC provides leadership for a growing number, currently more than 800, of non-profit community consumer credit counseling services in the U.S. and Canada. National Fraud Information Center NFIC. C/O National Consumers League. 815, 15th STNW, number 928N. Washington, D.C. 20005. 800-876-7060. Fax, 202-347-0646. Fraudinfo@psinet.com. Fraud.org. NFIC does assist consumers with recognizing and filing complaints about fraud. A project of the National Consumers League, the center's toll-free hotline assists consumers with information to help them avoid becoming victims of fraud, referral to appropriate law enforcement agencies and professional associations, and assistance in filing complaints. The center also provides professionals involved in consumer fraud prevention and enforcement with telecommunications systems and data links to improve fraud regulation, prevention, and law enforcement. National Institute for Consumer Education. 207 Rackham Building. College of Education. E. Michigan U. Ypsilanti, Michigan 48197. 313-487-2292. Fax, 313-487-7153. nice@online.emich.edu. emich.edu. A consumer education resource and professional development center for K-12 classroom teachers, business, government, labor, and community educators. NICE conducts training programs, develops teaching guides and resource lists, and manages a national clearinghouse of consumer education materials, including videos, software programs, textbooks, and curriculum guides. National Insurance Consumer Organization /NICO. POB 15492. Alexandria, Virginia 22309. 703-549-8050. A non-profit organization, NICO's mission includes educating the consumer on buying insurance, monitoring the insurance industry for consumer fraud and abuse, and advocating insurance consumers' rights. NICO develops and distributes consumer information on insurance. Nalo Press Legal Books. 950 Parker St. Berkeley, California 94710. 800-992 Nalo. 800-846-9455. 800-445 Nalo, CA. Fax, 800-645-0895. Nalo Briefs at nalo.com. Nalo.com. Many legal publications for all manner of situations. National Retail Federation. 325 7th Street Northwest. Number 1100. Washington, D.C. 20004. 800, NRF How To. 202-783-7971. Fax, 202-737-2849. nrf.com. Project Open. Online Public Education Network. 8403 Colesville Road. Number 865. Silver Spring, Maryland 20910. 301-495-4955. Fax, 800-495-4959. 800-466 Open. Project-open at isa.net. isa.net/project-open. Organization dedicated to helping consumers and parents deal with online issues. Call the 800 number for the free brochure, How to Get the Most Out of Going Online. Pillsbury Consumer Hotline. 800-328-4466. Public Citizen. 1600 20th St. Northwest. Washington, D.C. 20009. 202-588-1000. Citizen.org. A national, non-profit membership organization representing consumer interests through lobbying, litigation, research and publications. Public Citizen represents consumer interests in Congress, the courts, government agencies and the media. Primary current areas of interest include product liability, healthcare delivery, safe medical devices and medications, open and ethical government and safe and sustainable energy use. Public Voice for Food and Health Policy. 1012 14th St. Northwest. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-371-1840. Fax, 202-371-1910. pvoice@9.netcom.com. A national research, education, and advocacy organization, Public Voice works for food and agriculture policies and practices that improve the safety, health, and affordability of the food supply and protect the environment. Public Voice develops and distributes consumer information materials on pesticide reduction, nutrition labeling and seafood safety. Society of Consumer Affairs. Professionals in Business/SOCAP. North Fairfax St. Number 404. Alexandria, Virginia 22314. 703-519-3700. Fax, 703-549-4886. An international professional organization, SOCAP provides training, conferences, and publications to encourage and maintain the integrity of business in transactions with consumers, to encourage and promote effective communication and understanding among business, government, and consumers, and to define and advance the consumer affairs profession. U.S. Office of Consumer Affairs. U.S. Department of Commerce. Washington, D.C. 20230. 202-482-5001. 800-664-4435. Commerce.gov. Purpose is the consumer education of all government programs, assistance in the development of consumer protection programs for government and industry, and help state and local agencies resolve consumer complaints. They don't take individual complaints themselves but will refer you to the appropriate agency. Send for their free bi-monthly Consume newsletter. U.S. Postal Service. Office of Consumer Affairs. 475 L'Enfant Plaza SW. Washington, D.C. 20260. 202-245-4514. USPS.gov. If you have a complaint, you first complain to your local office. If they don't accommodate you, then you complain the national office listed here. U.S. Public Interest Research Group. 218 D. St. S.E. Washington, D.C. 20003. 202-546-9707. USBIRG@pyrg.org. pyrg.org. The group is the National Lobbying Office for State Public Interest Research Groups, consumer/environmental advocacy groups active in 33 states that lobby and publish reports on issues, including credit bureau errors, bank fees and services, toy, ATV, and product safety, toxic chemicals in art supplies and other consumer products, and recycling, overpackaging and green consumerism. USPIRG does not handle individual consumer complaints directly but measures complaint levels to gauge the need for remedial legislation. National Consumer Organization websites. NAGI.org, National Association of Attorney Generals. consumerlawpage.com/article/natlist.html, National Consumer Organizations. consumeraction.gov/resbrt2.html, Consumer Assistance Directory, Consumer Organizations, Consumers Resource Handbook. ADR.org, American Arbitration Association. AA2.org, American Association of Individual Investors. AARP.org, American Association of Retired Persons. TheAmericanConsumer.org, American Consumer Institute. ConsumerInterests.org, American Council on Consumer Interests. ASHI.com, American Society of Home Inspectors.